graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Puerto Rico's an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water.
This is for Colin, ball up a fist and keep that shit ball like Donald the bitch. He's gonna get rid of all immigrants. He's gonna build that thing up taller than this. The rest of America stand up. We love our military and we love our country, but we hate Trump. Ball up a fist for Donald the bitch.
What do I have to do for you to have sex with me? Do you want me to dress up like Thor? I'll dress up like Thor. I'll dress up like Iron Man. What do they do? I'll do it.
It's just a coincidence that you were talking about the Jack and Triumph show, and I'm here. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, guy who makes all those unlistenable podcasts over at smodcast.com, and you're listening to the Two Strangers, One Podcast. This is podcasting.
You're listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes or on the Stitcher app for Android devices. Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net. Now, here's Chris Cologne and Paul Pasquillo.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And this is going to be a short episode, people.
That's what she said.
Let's see what happens. Let's see how long we can record before the heat kicks back on.
Let's see how long we can last.
Because we're sitting here in a cold base. And it's not like freezing cold. But we both have our hoodies on to show you. It's that time. It's that fucking time of year. Halloween just passed. We had our first snowfall last night. When I got out of work, I had to fucking scrape
it was
ice
terrible.
and snow off my car. Like, I don't mind frost on the car. Like, there's always a little bit of frost like around this time of year. But when you have to I actually had to take my ice scraper out of the fucking trunk and scrape ice. So, we're hitting that time of year.
I had my old car, which Kelsia drives, and I come outside, I'm like, fuck. From work. And I open up the trunk. My fiance is clean. I need to make that very clear. I open up the trunk, and it's like literally stuffed. Everything is stuffed in there. I'm like, oh, using the good old shirt and just doing this. So, it was a wonderful day yesterday, Chris.
Yeah, so
it's been a wonderful 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, we haven't recorded. We were supposed to record last week, but something was going on in your life.
Oh, in and out of court for illegal drugs,
No,
awkward pause. No, I've been in and out of court for. I took my ex to court for visitation because, she really wasn't letting me see my kid, so I had to do something. And this was back in August. I don't want to go into too many details, but pretty much yesterday was a hearing, which caused me to be late to work, so I had to stay later, which was disastrous for my sleep. Basically, the temporary visitation agreement that we had got changed, so that way it was what it usually is, which is every single weekend I see Logan. As we speak right now, and as we record this podcast, he's at my parents' house. Didn't know that till about an hour ago, but
yeah.
But whatever. Hey, that's part of the thing too. My mom talks to my ex, and that's the way it can be right now.
Yeah,
because honestly, it's you get to a point where, and I guess I don't want to go too far into it, but you get to a point where your kid is about to be 12 years old, which he is. And you just sit there and you go, I can't let this happen anymore. Plus, the other problem was there was actually accusations of my fiance doing stuff. Mm-hmm. And that got blown way out of the water yesterday. So,
yeah, people can make accusations, and of course they have to investigate. But then, as soon as they investigate, they realize that it's all fucking bullshit.
Yeah. So that's kind of been why we haven't been able to record, because see what happens is I gotta go see my lawyer, and then we gotta talk about stuff. So that happens. That was happening on some days where Wednesday we try to do it about a Wednesday. So that kind of fucked everything up, because I gotta go in, I gotta talk to my lawyer and make sure that we're doing everything correctly, and then you go into court and get all that taken care of. And Wednesday's usually a better day because Thursdays have been weird. Oh, I had to work during the day Wednesday one of these weeks.
Yeah, last week Wednesday when I think you were covering for a manager or some shit like that.
Yeah, I had to work a Wednesday too, and because Chris works at night, you can't just be like, oh, hey, by the way, let's record from your job.
Yeah, because we used to record Monday nights, but then now with my new job, I work evenings, so Monday through Friday, which is nice. But so now we kind of have to either schedule before work. But I think we tend to have more interaction. Well, the last episode we had more interaction before work than we do when we do on Monday nights, when there's like Monday Night Football and Monday Night Raw and whatever TV shows that are big on Monday nights or Sunday nights.
Well, we're doing a special called Countdown with Tsunami Faithful Podcast. So that we try to do. Actually, people selected before at 7:00 on Monday. So that's even better because Raw doesn't come on until 8. So I mean, that's how we work it, and it's usually live. So not like this, because obviously, me and him are in the same spot, whereas I have one person over here in Boston.
Isn't Sketch like out on the West Coast? And
Sketch is probably the only one on the West Coast. Caboose is in Pennsylvania somewhere, which actually isn't that far from us, if you think about it. I'm trying to think what else. One's in Boston. What the hell else is there? Oh, the other one's on the West Coast too. So I guess there's 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, pretty much, it's we try to record when we get a lot more people listening and watching and whatnot, and it seems to work out that way. So.
And speaking of Tsunami Faithful, I think all the videos, I have completed editing all the videos, so I feel like an obligation. Like, whew. Now I still have like 4 or 5 videos that I have to release on my own, but we've finished editing all the interview.
The porn videos can't go up on YouTube.
But it's literally been a month since New York Comic Con, and like we still haven't put out everything. But then again, it's like, one, I guess it's good not to just put it all in one, just like, hey, here's everything. But it's also like, I've just been so fucking busy with work.
You know
and
what?
shit.
I think that leads us into a subject that I think we should talk about.
What's that?
Maybe you shouldn't put those up just yet. Because somebody's trying to
okay, so I was looking for one of my old videos. One of my Stranger vlogs, and then I see, obviously you see a lot of the 2 strangers in one pod. Then there's this other fucking asshole that like uploaded, and I'm like, first I'm thinking maybe it's a mistake, maybe it's whatever, and then I go and like some asshole, and I'm not gonna fucking say his name because I'm not gonna give him any fucking play, but some asshole uploaded 45 videos from the 2 Strangers One Podcast YouTube page. Now, I mean, it's hard enough trying to run a page and trying to get people to watch your videos and stuff like that. We don't need a fucking leech to come and fucking re-upload the videos. It would be one thing, like, and don't get me wrong, when I do the podcast, like all the intros for my podcast, yeah, I borrow. You know what I'm saying? I borrow things from if I under fair use, I use a lot of stuff. But when you're straight up putting the whole fucking video online or something like that, then you're that's just stealing. It's not fair use. It's not, and I'm pretty sure he's trying to monetize the videos. And, and you're not going to try to earn subscribers. Like the subscribers we've earned.
let me give it like a little bit more perspective of this. It's not just that he's putting up the audio episodes of 2 Strangers One Podcast. He's putting up videos that actually the vlogs that Chris did with him in the goddamn
with
video.
my face.
I'm sitting there going like, I don't understand.
Oh, Darrell says to call his ass out. I don't want to give him play. I really don't want to give him play. Just because. And the whole thing is, the videos are still up because the YouTube complaint, the way it works is you can only do 10 videos at a time. Yeah. So I've already done 10 videos, so I still have 35 more to go. And thanks, Darrell. Darrell says don't steal other people's shit. Exactly. I can understand. Like, don't get me wrong, with the podcast and with the music, and especially with all the intros that I do before the show. I borrow. I take little sound clips and stuff like that, which is par for the fucking course. I'm taking a sound clip. I'm not playing the entire song. I'm not playing, before even Paul joined the podcast, I was helping out with another podcast where I had this thing called Chris's Hidden Metal Show, and I would play the whole songs, but that wasn't monetized. That was just okay. And you
can't ever put that stuff up on
YouTube. And exactly. And that was just part of a podcast. That wasn't actually that wasn't on YouTube.
Well, you could put it up, but you have to have permission from this. You have to have permission from everybody that's involved and blah blah blah.
Yeah, no, but just for that reason, I purposefully made sure that I think I played our ads on that episode, on that show. But really, what are our ads? Our ads are our click and hit, which is, they've been, they were tight in the beginning of the show. They kind of fell off. I mean, I still have put them on the show. I may take them off one day just because they haven't paid up in a while. And Comics Etc., which is our local, but and of course the Cinema Psyops podcast. They're friends of the show, and they play our ad every now and then. And then there's Comics Etc., which is the local fucking comic book store.
Look who it is.
And then Jen goes, "Did you figure out why they took it?" I sent the guy an email. He never wrote me back. But I'm assuming the guy stole the videos so he can monetize them. Jen goes, "Click and hit doesn't work." Wow.
What the
Darrell
hell
says
that?
YouTube complaints are full of shit, though they're quick to shut down people for intellectual property when you have permission. When it comes to your shit, it takes forever. Yeah, like Paul has Funimation sends Paul stuff, and then Paul, you've gotten copyright strikes, right? So it's funny that like in that same system,
I can tell a quick little story about
you
that,
automatically get fucking hit. Yet me, I mean, I guess you know what it is. I think the big companies, I think they have like sort of like a quick algorithm written. I had to sit there and physically write all the fucking.
So what happens is, and I think this is something that should actually be available to the smaller YouTuber, is companies can get a different YouTube. What that means is they can get a YouTube that they can what's called region block. Mm-hmm. And region block allows you to play, for example, Funimation has a region block YouTube where they can put all their content up, but because it's only available in North America, nobody else can see it. Mm-hmm. So I think you could see it in here, you could see it in the United States, you could see it in Canada, but that's about it. Problem is all the stuff that I would put out would be worldwide. And people are sharing it and whatnot and everything. And then all of a sudden, because YouTube has shitty... I don't know anymore. I haven't really tested it. We might try to do something like that eventually. But because they have really shitty... what the hell is the word for it? Basically, I guess the way to explain it is they have these computer filters. And if it hits a computer filter where there's a copyright, it goes, no, that person needs your money. So you can't monetize this. Or, which is even worse, they're like, oh, no, your video's fine, but they're going to get the money off the monetization.
Yeah, I think algorithms,
it's so stupid. Here's an example of a video. The most viewed video that we have, and it's up on youtube.com/geekyvideos, is for the TV series Blood Sea that Funimation put out. Mm-hmm. It has over 200,000 views right now. It just came off of any copyright or anybody trying to pull any money off of it. So now, all these years later, which has been a couple years, all these years later, now we're actually making money off of this 200,000 view video.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, maybe YouTube is, kind of being like, okay, maybe we should not be an asshole. Because here's the thing, like, I go and I have permission to take footage. Because if I'm going to do a video review, I'm going to have footage from your show in here, okay? Yes, the Japanese person that did it over in wherever is going to be probably pissed about that. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, whatever. But here's the thing. It's the English dub. It's not the sub. It's the English dub. So if they would actually listen to it, they would be like, oh, okay, so you're talking about the English dub of this. Okay, well, let me just block this here in my country, and then you can have it whatever. Mm-hmm. I've had to do that. I've had to actually... make sure that we don't do these certain things because, if I don't have permission and it gets blocked, then the YouTube channel gets a hit against it,
Yeah. Well, because Jen asked how do they make the money off of it? It's how anybody makes money off YouTube. If you monetize a video and you take a video and it has this stupid ad that plays in the beginning of it, or some people actually you can put the ad in the middle. If the ad plays and there's certain algorithm, like if it plays all the way through. And I guess YouTube also keeps track of if the person watches the entire video. Right. Because it would be real easy to go, oh, I'll just keep hitting reload and let the ad play and then click reload. Well, I think they have to watch the whole video. There's a whole algorithm to it, but the person, if when you see ads before the YouTube video, the creators get paid for it. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, our page I think like every $100 or something, once you hit the $100 mark, then YouTube sends you the check or something like that.
Well, so... It's not exactly like that. Basically, and since Google obviously has YouTube now, it's been a lot easier for everybody to all of that to connect. Basically, what happens is you have to start a Google AdSense. And then what happens is using Google AdSense, you connect it to your YouTube account, and that generates your advertising revenue back to you.
Yeah.
And
let's put it like this: Two Strangers One podcast page hasn't hit that first benchmark. Like, I'm just to use an easy number. Let's just say when you hit $100, they'll send you $100.
But
we haven't hit. Let's just say use $100. We haven't hit the $100 mark. Not on the YouTube. Not on the Two Strangers One podcast page.
Let me make it to you this: ToonamiFaithful.com at least gets paid $100 once a year, sometimes twice, depending on the traffic I get to my website.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because it's monetizing videos, and it's also through Google AdSense. It's also with the amount of traffic that you get, you also get paid for that too. So.
Now imagine like the people who are on YouTube that have 4 million views on their video. It's
And that's how these illegal sites actually make a lot of money, is because you're getting so many people coming to your site, watching the video off of their site, that they're getting millions upon millions of dollars just off of, I don't think it's Google AdSense, but they're getting, because I would assume that Funimation and Viz and everybody have gone to Google and been like, no, you're not doing that shit. But somehow they're making money off of that in a different monetized way. Normally, a lot of these companies are overseas, so it's not like they're here in the United States. Mm-hmm. Because, honestly, if they were here in the United States, they would have been fucked a long time ago. That's how they're making money. So, I mean, all of this is how everybody makes money in kind of our industry, kind of, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So... but yeah, I mean, Chris's YouTube, like, it was just
for the guy to just blatantly steal 45 videos and and like the entire fucking video. Once again, not fair use, like not a clip, not the entire fucking video. So then Durrell writes, Japan region blocks like a mofo.
Yes.
And that's, I mean, because they have different contracts, like where, where some American company has distribution rights in the United States, so Japan's going to block it, in the United States.
Well,
and then he writes, remember that incident with Toei.
Yeah, I remember that.
So just, I mean, yeah. So
which I wasn't patient on that, because I think they region blocked everything except North America, which I kind of went, fuck, I should have kept it up, but whatever, it's fine. Hand me one of those contracts.
So how was your Halloween, Paul?
It's fine. I worked.
It sucks when Halloween's like on a fucking Monday or a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jen Gray is right. Right. So Chris isn't making money on his account, so this dude thinks he is. Weird. Well, I mean, the guy doesn't. Nobody. I mean, I'm only telling my business because I'm telling my business, but the guy's the guy's re-uploading the videos, thinking that maybe he can steal some of our traffic. Because the way the YouTube algorithm works is just sort of like, if you ever looked up certain videos online, like if you look up I want to see the new Justice League trailer. Now, usually the very first selection should be the official Warner Brothers Justice League trailer. But then some other fucking rinky-dink asshole fucking uploaded the Justice League trailer, and he's getting traffic to his page using the Justice League trailer, which he has absolutely no fucking right to. And if he's monetizing those videos, he can probably get a whole bunch of money before Warner Brothers takes it down. Maybe Warner Brothers doesn't do anything about it, and I'm just using that as an example. So, I mean, as for me not making money, I mean, it'd be nice if we could make money, but, yeah, the guy, and the whole thing is the guy's stealing shit, trying to make money off of work that he didn't put a minute of time in on. So, he can kiss my ass. So, all right. So let's see. All right. So Halloween, I hate it when Halloween's like on a Monday or Tuesday, because by the time it actually hits Halloween, it doesn't feel like Halloween. Like, and then like I had my daughter for the weekend. I had big plans, like, oh, we're going to go trick or treating. But this time of year, fucking the weather sucks. So it was like raining and cold on like the Saturday before Halloween. So I was like, baby, let's just stay home and fucking, put on makeup. I said, who's the most repulsive, ugly monster I can be this Halloween? And so I was Donald Trump.
It was a bad version of Donald Trump, but yes.
But okay, but Jen is right. But isn't Justice League stealing something that makes sense? Are you insulting me, Jen? I don't know. What did she say? She goes, isn't stealing the Justice League stealing something that makes sense? I don't know if that's an insult, or you're saying that my videos aren't worth stealing. But I mean, I mean, the point, it's, it's just like the guy's trying to steal, the guy stealing videos, thinking that he could maybe what if I do hit that? What if I do get that one viral video that fucking really hits, and a bunch of people start clicking on the videos, and they click on one video, then all of a sudden they start checking out the podcast. And they start clicking on all our videos, and then all of a sudden, we do start generating some kind of cash or generating some money. The guy will have himself already set up where like, oh, here's a couple videos where people might accidentally click on and make some money. I still have that viral. And Jen goes, "Fat man dancing." Yes, yes, there is the fat dancing video that I was hoping to go viral. It's gone viral. I've had people, reposted, the comments on the video are pretty funny. But yeah, I was kind of hoping that like someone finds something like Fat Man Dancing and, and like shares it. Like if some celebrity shared it or whatever. And then it would draw traffic to the page or draw traffic back to the podcast. So, so that's what I'm hoping for. And then, and speaking of, while Jen's interacting with the show, Jen went to Pennsylvania. There's a podcast that both of us really enjoy called Hollywood Babylon. Mm-hmm. It's Kevin Smith and Ralph Garman. Ralph Garman's a radio person.
How many podcasts does Kevin Smith do?
Kevin Smith literally, he has Smodcast, which is his original podcast. He has Hollywood Babylon, which is he does every week because they do a live show. So he gets income because he does a live show and people pay, I want to say $20 to $50 a head to sit in the theater. He does Edumacation with this guy named Andrew McElfresh, which used to be a writer on the Jay Leno Tonight Show. He does a show called Fat Man on Batman, which he does with a guy named Mark Bernardin, who's written comic books and a couple of sci-fi shows.
So they charge at the door.
The Hollywood Babylon is the most frequent show, and that's one where they charge at the door to see live. Smodcast he does in his house. Fat Man on Batman, they're going to start doing live shows so they can generate money at this place called Scum and Villainy, which is basically a bar, basically kind of a bar they made a bar that looks like the cantina in Star Wars. But so they don't get sued by Lucasfilm, they call it Scum and Villainy. They try to not associate with Star Wars, but it looks like the Star Wars cantina. So the Fat Man on Batman podcast, they're going to start recording there with Mark Bernardin. And then he does Getting Old with Jay Muse. Jay and Silent Bob Get Old.
That's way too much.
I think he does one or two more. So yeah, Kevin Smith has at least like 5 steady podcasts. And there we go. Oh, okay, Jen said she paid $37.50 for her podcast. So imagine a room full of, 200, 300 people paying $37.50 a head. You know what? Here's
the thing. It's not even the podcast. They're probably there just to see Kevin Smith. What's his face? Ralph Garman is fucking hilarious, and he's a entertainment reporter on K-Rock, this radio station in Los Angeles. But he's originally from Philadelphia, so he came to do a Philly show. So it's Ralph Garman basically coming home. Kevin Smith, who's from South Jersey, which is a 20-minute drive from Philadelphia. So Jen drove all the way down from, Jen said and Jen says the Philly Punchline holds 300 people. And yeah, so imagine 300 people at $37.50 a head. And the Hollywood Babylon show, I believe, also they have a pay service where like, you can watch the live, you can watch the shows, hey. We're in the wrong segment, dude.
Yeah, right. I'm just trying to monetize fucking videos. We need to start doing live shows. Then they did 2 shows that night. Jen says, I was thinking about if we could do a live show, but I don't think you'd be up for it. Like, you're fucking busy.
Yeah, but who would come to our live show?
Jen?
No offense, Jen.
We need more fat dancing. We need more.
No offense, Jen, but I need more people to come to one of our shows.
Yeah.
What we should do is we should do panels at cons. Is what we should do.
Yeah, it was so that's how he basically makes his money. All right, and okay, I was just double checking to see if no Oscar mail, so I'm surprised Oscar hasn't interacted with the show in a while.
Probably got shot or something.
But I think since we're going to cut the show kind of short, we'll be back with more dick and fart jokes.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc., 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Did you ever see a film at such a young age it left you traumatized with cinematic wounds? Necrophilia. It's a dead issue, man. Don't push it. Cinema Psyops is a weekly podcast documenting an ongoing experiment on the mind of an unwilling test subject.
No one should have to watch this movie.
Oh, no one should have to watch this?
No one should have to watch this movie.
Surprisingly, it's not a topic that a lot of people really want to tackle.
I'm shocked, Prudes.
I know, really.
Right?
It's the next sexual frontier that no one wants to explore.
I am, in the most sincerest of senses, disappointed in you.
It takes a powerful goddess like Connie, jam her arm down the monster's throat and kill it. Oh, I'm still tripping out over that. Even as a kid, I was like, I gotta find a girl like that. Every week, I get a new look of disappointment that I never thought I could get out of it.
Unimaginable. At 12 years old, you should not be watching this movie.
Obviously.
At 13, you should not be. 14, you shouldn't be. I'm not entirely sure even 17-year-olds should be watching this.
Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean that you have the right to demand that it doesn't exist. Watching this film again, I had all of this like little nerd glee with everything that kept
little
popping
history
up.
doll popping up
absolutely.
at you.
So I totally loved this film.
Hey, I know why you couldn't see that. It's because your brain's warped from watching this shit at 12 years old.
Yeah, this is a rough movie. I told you ahead of time when we were getting ready to do it that it was
How
going to be a
could you
rough
watch
one.
this shit at 12?
Because physical wounds heal, cinematic ones don't. Listen to Cinema Psyops.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. You can leave the pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-n-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com. And now for listeners of Two Strangers One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase.
And we're back. All right, Paul. So, what else have we got? You haven't seen Thor Ragnarok. You've been that busy.
No, I saw the ending the other day because I had to help clean the theater because, well, I don't want to say that on the podcast.
Paul does it. Paul does it all. He's manager. He'll take tickets. You ever work at concessions?
Oh yeah, I do it all.
Concessions, cleans the theater.
No.
Paul's a jack of all
Don't
trades.
get it twisted. I do everything in that theater at some point.
But I saw Thor Ragnarok. As a matter of fact, I liked it so much that I kept telling my coworker who he seems to like this stuff, and I'm like, dude, you have to go see Thor Ragnarok. And then he's like, man, I guess he's having a rough week because he's going to a Rhode Island Comic-Con today, as a matter of fact. A friend of mine from work.
Oh, okay.
So he's going, and he goes, dude, my money's all tied up in going into this Comic-Con. I'm broke. And I'm like, Thor Ragnarok was so good. I'm like, dude, I paid for his ticket. So he went yesterday and we saw Thor Ragnarok. Easily the best Thor movie, real fucking funny. The special effects, the imagery used in the movie, I have to say, it's what I always wanted a Thor movie to be. I want to see people on flying horses, hitting each other with swords. I want to see, I want to see giant flaming demons swing swords. And none of this stuff, I'm not making this up. This is all stuff in the movie. I want to see big giant dragons, flying, trying to eat fucking Thor, So that's not spoiling too much, but it was very, very funny. It was directed by Taika Waititi, which I just love saying that name, Taika Waititi. And I guess he's more commonly known. He's in that movie, What We Do in Shadows, with one of the guys from Flight of the Conchords. He did another one called Eagle versus Shark, if I'm not mistaken, which once again I think had the guys from Flight of the Conchords, or one of the guys from Flight of the Conchords. So he's like a New Zealand guy. Little trivia about the movie: he actually did he did part of the motion capture for the Hulk. You know, I mean, Mark Ruffalo did most of it, but I think he did some. He did motion capture for the big flaming demon with the sword. And this is Taika Waititi. And then the most fun character in the movie, he plays this rock monster named Korg, this blue monster.
Yes.
So he's doing this real like soft New Zealand accent, which I think it's supposed to sound like some character that's famous in New Zealand, but I don't know who that is. And but he looks like this big fucking scary rock monster, but he does this real like, hello, how you doing today? You know, like real soft voice.
Yeah.
So so that was pretty awesome. Once again, if you have a chance, you know, I highly recommend it. It's very, very fun, very funny. You know, the visuals are spectacular. So comes highly recommended. Thor Ragnarok. Well, I'm assuming if you didn't see Thor Ragnarok, have you seen Stranger Things season 2? Did you see Stranger Things season 1?
No.
It's not. But you got Netflix, right?
I saw Voltron season 2 there. See whatever the fuck
season 3 or 4 or whatever.
Well,
what they were talking about at Comic-Con?
real quick, I hate how they were like, oh, well, we're gonna split what's supposed to be season 3 into 2 seasons, and basically it should have just been 1 season.
Oh, okay.
I think they really didn't. It didn't take anything away from it. I mean, it was an excellent. It's just you get through the first part of it, and there's no really big climax to where it ends, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta watch this. No, it just ends with information, and then you're like, okay, where's the next episode? You know what I mean? So they shouldn't have done that. I don't think they should do that anymore. They should just do it the way that they were doing it. But
and Stranger Things season 2 came out. If you liked, what was it? You say gay?
Giggity. I said giggity.
Giggity. It came out. So I think if you like season 1, you'll like season 2. It kind of expands on the universe, and it's not really a spoiler. It's kind of like, you know, they introduced a new monster, but it's not really a new monster, for the lack of a better term, without really spoiling too much. You know, they kind of like, you know, here you saw one monster where, you know, here's a bigger, more versions of that monster. You know, so. I mean, I'm glad that they didn't like take it in a totally different direction. Like, you know, first season was like monsters from another dimension, and all of a sudden now it's aliens or something like that. Like, it kind of it stays in the same world.
I will say, I gotta say, I saw the post-credit scene in the middle, not the one at the end. The post-credit scene.
Oh, wait, you're talking about the Ragnarok?
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about Stranger Things. But go on.
And then I'm just
sitting
sitting
there
the post-credit
scene.
I just don't understand. Like, you're gonna have to explain to me that after the podcast, because I'm like, okay.
Well, I think
I didn't see the movie, so I guess I'm really even more confused.
Well, I guess spoiler alert. Spoiler alert for the next 30 seconds or 40 seconds. Thor Ragnarok mid-credit scene. Here we go. Close your ears and skip forward about a minute if you want to. Don't be spoiled. It's Thanos' ship.
Yeah.
It's the Sanctuary 2. It's so basically, you know, it's. You know, at the end of Thor Ragnarok, they get all the Asgard. Spoiler alert for Thor Ragnarok. They get all the Asgardians on this because Asgard gets destroyed. Ragnarok does happen and it gets destroyed, but they have every last Asgardian left is on that ship, and then Thanos' ship comes and it's fucking 10 times the size of it. So, you know, it's showing that, yeah, look at all these people that are on this one ship. Well, look how bigger this other one is. And so it's Thanos'. So it's basically delivering us into Infinity War.
Right.
So, you know, and then, you know, then we'll get in, you know, there's been a lot of speculation on how the leaked Infinity War trailer starts, you know, with Thor hitting the Guardians of the Galaxy ship. How does that?
I still don't understand why they didn't release that. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe they're still working on it. Maybe that scene gets changed. Maybe because there is one big obvious difference between Thor at the end of Thor Ragnarok and the Thor that's in that trailer, but I guess we'll save that for another time. We won't speculate too much on that. All right, so hopefully we didn't spoil too much. If you did skip ahead a minute, I don't know how long we were talking. But Stranger Things season 2, it kind of expands on the universe, not too much. The funny thing is, in the first season, it's about this kid who gets sucked into another dimension. And while he's in this season, as my friend from work said, there was a reason that he wasn't in the last seasons because he's not a good actor. But now they have to have him. They had him in on this season, and they could see that, you know, there was a, you know, his bad acting came through because he actually had to stick around this whole season as opposed to being lost in the other dimension from the first season.
Yeah.
So, and I do have to say, the end of season 2, Stranger Things, made me cry. I cried like a bitch when I saw it. So, you know.
There was one, I did see one episode because Kelsey is watching, where they were in some kind of cave. While they're in some kind of cave, these kids are trying to lure. It looks like these. I don't even know what, like these plant-like. You know in Ghostbusters.
The Devil Dogs.
Yeah, Ghostbusters. Is it Ghostbusters 2?
No, Ghostbusters 1 has the demon dogs.
Right. So it's like a combination of plants and those. It looks like.
Yeah, there's. I mean, I guess spoiler alert for Stranger Things season 2. There's things called the demo dogs, and because in season 1 there was. The Demogorgon, and then this one there's Demo Dogs, and me and my coworker. It's funny, my coworker. I invited him on the podcast because we keep talking about Stranger Things, and I'm like, we keep talking about it. Let's put this on a fucking podcast. So he may want to. Me and him may do an episode about Stranger Things, but
Chris just wants to cheat on me.
Well, if we're gonna fucking wait 3 weeks in between episodes, I'll
wasn't my fault.
I'll record with someone who has time. God damn it! No, but the Demogorgon is season 1. Then you got these Demo Dogs, and him and I kind of are at odds. Where I say the dog eventually evolves into the Demogorgon. You know, except in this season we only saw they haven't evolved all the way yet because the character kind of evolves throughout the season. In the beginning it looks like a little slug. Then it gets a little bigger. Then it's almost like the size of a cat, and then it gets like a fucking not like a big dog, like a fucking like a Rottweiler or something like that. And it has the same face as Demogorgon, where it opens up and it looks like a fucking evil flower or whatever. So yeah, they kind of like dogs. They're kind of like plants because under the ground it's sort of it's vines. It's sort of, once again, it's not a major spoiler, but you know the monster itself is like spreading like vines, so that's why it kind of looks like a plant, but it kind of looks like a monster.
It was just interesting to see that like all of a sudden like they're about to like kill these kids, and then all of a sudden because somebody's trying to snoop around in this cave, they go and attack them.
Oh yeah, and that's the whole thing is, and it's one of those. I mean, I hate to, you know, it is sort of. I hate when movies and shows do that when it's sort of it's a hive mind. Yeah. Where like, so if one, if you kill the queen, all of them die, you know, so or they don't respond anymore. So what happens is something else distracts them, and then they go from trying to kill the protagonists of the show, they end up going somewhere else to go eat some soldiers.
It's like they're looking at them like, we'll be back for you, motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, and that's the minor spoilers. I won't spoil the end, but I do have to say I cried like a fucking bitch when I saw the end of Stranger Things season 2.
Yeah, he's a little bitch. So.
Let me see. What else? We have Jigsaw. Feels like forever. It's been so long since we've recorded. I saw Jigsaw, the Saw part 7 or 8.
That it's actually...
it's not bad. I mean,
well, apparently this isn't. It's supposed to like call upon like all the stuff from Saw, but it's also kind of its own thing.
It's its own thing, and I get like, I guess they're smart enough to call it Jigsaw, where like if they wanted to make this its own sort of like offshoot franchise, they could. But it's totally related to all the Saw movies. I think you can kind of watch it without having to see the other movies.
That's what I've heard too.
It's not like there's big giant callbacks. Oddly enough, I actually like the Saw movies. I know they're shitty. I know they're kind of, and obviously like it's one of those deals where like if this guy, because it's not a spoiler, but you know, Jigsaw dies like in part 3 or part 4. Yeah. One of those movies, he's already dead. And like they got up to like part 5 or 6 or 7 or something. And it's sort of like, you know, obviously this guy had a plan way fucking in advance. If his shit is still floating around, you know, 3 years later or whatever. But if you actually follow, if you sat there and like put the timeline for each Saw movie, they kind of all take place relatively at the same time. We're just watching different stories. You know, I mean, we see them different years, but we see them as in our world in different years, but it's kind of like all this stuff happening at the same time. while, like, you know, part 2 happens while part 1 is happening, and so on and so forth. So this one, I don't want to spoil it, but if you like the Saw movies, it fits right in with its own, with the continuity of the Saw movies. I didn't sit there and analyze every frame, but, you know, you kind of see where it fits in. Or at least, you know, they lead you to believe that that's where it fits in. And I guess if they really wanted to say, okay, we want to make a whole other franchise that's sort of connected to Saw, they could. I kind of hope that this is the last movie. I hope they're like, okay, that's it, we're done. Because it's a nice way to kind of end the series. But, I mean, once again, you know, kind of like what I mentioned earlier on Facebook, you know, the movie looks like it made $20 to make it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they make these movies insanely cheap, and then people go out to see it. So I wouldn't be surprised if it makes so much money that...
I mean, for me, like, from what I've heard, is that... Well, first of all, getting back to the whole Saw thing, the longer it went on, the worse it got. Because I didn't see all of them, but I've seen most of them. But from what I've heard about this movie, it's kind of its own thing, and that and it seems to be doing actually pretty well. Honestly, if I'm going to be honest with you, Jigsaw's been doing really well in the theaters. It's not like doing Thor well, but it's doing decently well to where you would think it's going to do.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say, and I have no idea what the numbers are. Let's just say they made the movie for $10 million. And it makes $15 million. Well, then it made a profit. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
that's what Tyler Perry does all the time. Look at you know, Medea.
Fucking Boo 2.
Yeah, they're made to do well for 2 weeks and then die. That's what his formula is. He wants to make all of his millions in the first 2 weeks, and then whatever it makes after that is just cake, you know, frosting on the cake, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's not counting DVD sales and.
Oh yeah. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. You know, I have to remind people about this a lot, because people say to me, "Well, the movie theater business is gonna die," and I say to them, "It's not gonna die. What's gonna end up happening is you're gonna see fewer and fewer theaters. But the movie theater industry is not gonna die, because you got to understand something. You make millions, sometimes billions, on some of these movies. More or less with like the Marvel, the Star Wars, the DC." These are the kinds of things that are going to make you the money these days. Jurassic World will probably make a lot of money when it comes out next year. I think it comes out next year. So there's a lot of revenue in these movies still. The problem is a lot of these movies though are shit. So some of these movies you see come out and you're like, why the fuck isn't that out on DVD, Blu-ray, or Netflix straight to whatever? You know,
straight to Redbox.
Right. So I think what you're going to start to see is some of these bigger movies, some of these like smaller movies may shift to going straight to Netflix, or like let every fucking studio, TV network is doing their own platform these days. So you may see straight to, like, let's say Warner Brothers is doing their own, or DC is doing their own platform. You know, it goes straight to there if it's something they think it's shitty. You know, you may see that now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's, you know, I kind of been talking about this a lot. Is that, and this kind of leads into something, and I'll keep it brief because we don't have that much time. But you know, there's way too many platforms out there right now. And I kind of think that, like, for example, Crunchyroll, and this is why I like Crunchyroll, because what they did was they took this, they thought outside the box and created this thing called VRV, which is a different streaming service, but it has Crunchyroll, Funimation, and then other shows that aren't even considered anime on there. So they're starting to think outside of the box and bring these other things in. That's what needs to start happening, because guess what? Yeah, okay, you know, for like Star Trek Discovery is only on CBS's goddamn platform. I don't want to pay $5 a month just to watch Star Trek. You know, and I've looked over what they have in their selection. It has almost every single CBS show. It doesn't have Numbers, which is a really good show. I don't know if you've ever seen that. By the way, these shows I'm mentioning aren't like anything animated. Without a Trace, it was that FBI series where they, you know, somebody would go lost and then they would go find them. That was a really good show. I like that show. That's not on there. Actually, somebody mentioned to me, and I didn't even realize it until I thought about it. Everybody knows Raymond.
Everybody loves Raymond?
Everybody loves Raymond, yeah. That's not on. I'm like, that's a good point. I'm like, I don't know, because I'm sure somebody has the rights to it right now.
Yeah, it's
But
probably
the minute-
syndication rights and
Right,
shit.
so, well, not syndication rights, because some of these shows have actually split off into, and don't ask me to explain this, because I don't understand it, even myself, it makes my head hurt. Like, for example, Star Trek Voyager, Star Trek, The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, I think Deep Space Nine, maybe, whatever. BBC has a lot of those series, but you can also get it on the CBS platform, and you can also get it on the, I think it's still on Netflix. It might still be on Netflix. So it's like, it's all over the place, but then you only see certain shows do that sometimes too. So it's kind of like, I don't quite understand this.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of actually I'm actually kind of waiting to see some of these shows start to come off of, like, say, okay, so this show, like Voltron, for example, is on Netflix. I'm waiting for Netflix to try to do TV rights and put it on the network TV and see how it does. Because not everybody watches Netflix. Case in point, looking at Alaska, where Blockbuster is still thriving. But getting back to whole movies, I mean, that's the kind of thing that I'm saying. Like, you know, if you're gonna be making movies, you're gonna be making money in the theater, then on Blu-ray and DVD sales, and then on all these streaming sites that it goes to. So why not keep all of that? By the way, all these studios have invested money in the projectors. They're not going to sit there and not put the movie in there.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And then sort of just like exactly what I said while I just looked up real quick. I was right on the fucking money. Jigsaw cost $10 million to make, made $62 million worldwide.
There you go.
So there's going there. You know, it'd be retarded if they didn't do a Jigsaw 2.
That's the way that movies should be made now.
They're gonna make. I mean, you know, it's gonna be all small movies, and hopefully they make big money, or the big giant fucking tentpole movies like Marvel. Like they said, Marvel. They said the Marvel movie is 18 movies so far, and they've hit like the $5 billion mark. It's ridiculous, but you know. But I think we're gonna have to wrap this up.
That's what she
That's
said.
what she said. So I think that's it. What we're gonna do is I'll probably just edit in from another podcast all our outro nonsense. But we certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening and had as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Bye. You should be fapping.
You should be rapping, yo.
Yo.
You see me on the video? Yo.
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 All right, so we're gonna wrap this up.
That's what she said.
I'll splice in the whole breakdown. But please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net where you can find all things show related. First and foremost, you can find links to our iTunes page. If you have an iPhone, an iPad, or iPod, you can download episodes onto your iPhone, iPad, or iPod. If you don't have an iPhone, an iPad, or iPod, you can download us on the Stitcher app, or you can download us on the Stitcher app. It's the app that I use to listen to all my podcasts. Chris Hardwick's The Nerdist, Kevin Smith's Smodcast, This American Life, Adam Carolla, Mark Maron, and of course, Paul's other baby, the Toonami Faithful podcast.
Which will be well represented as well at Comic-Con.
They're all available on,
I promise.
They're all available on Stitcher app. I mean, we're going there under the We're going there under the umbrella of Toonami Faithful, which, you know.
Well, hopefully we're going to get some big interviews.
But we're trying. We've been trying to get some good interviews. I'll be honest with you. Right now, I'm betting 0 for 0. No, none of the ones. But I've gotten my name on a couple of lists, and if I could just get my name on it, that's all I ask is to be on a list. Because you know what it is, people put their name on the list, then other people forget about it or drop out or do something else or don't want to do it on a Sunday, you know, and then like, oh, by the way, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sometimes you got to be the last guy at the club.
It's looking like we may stay there until Sunday. Come back Sunday night because Chris here has to work at 3. But I'm gonna try to get the day off so that way I can go back and just sleep
and quite frankly, if things work out the way I would like for them to work out, I think it would be our best interview yet.
Does your mom have cable?
Yes.
Does she have Cartoon Network?
Yes, she does. Because my daughter watches
guess what we're watching
my daughter watches fucking.
Guess what? When we get the fuck home on Saturday night, we're watching.
Motherfucker, when you get the fuck home, you're gonna pass the fuck out.
No,
because you've been at fucking Comic-Con all day.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna record you watching.
I guarantee you're not gonna fucking watch. I'm not saying you're not. I'm not gonna stop you. I'm just saying Comic-Con, and it's already fucking Saturday. Like you've already worked Thursday and Friday. Saturday night, you're as soon as you fucking get to the fucking house, you're gonna pass the fuck out. You're not gonna, I'm just saying, as much as I love Comic-Con, it's like running a fucking marathon. But you're done, and you're exhausted. And you feel free to watch Toonami all you like. It ain't gonna fucking happen. I'm telling you that right now.
But I get to hear your mom saw wood, so there we go.
No, well, she'll be like, it's funny when
if any of you have never heard that episode of the podcast, you need to hear it.
Listen to
it is the most hilarious thing I've ever heard.
Don't Wake Mommy is the name of the episode.
Yes, and like we're sitting here recording a podcast, and all of a sudden in the background I hear, and Chris is in the background of Chris's apartment, I hear. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Well, in all fairness, it was a smaller apartment, and my mom was probably not even 20 feet away from the mic when she was sleeping and snoring. But so,
which makes me laugh.
Yeah,
because it's like, how did she sleep through the fact that you were recording a podcast?
You know, my mom was a heavy sleeper.
So let me do Chris's job for him. So you can find us on Facebook.
I was talking about Stitcher. STITCHER. When you're in a Wi-Fi spot, like I usually do, you can download all your episodes, put on Listen Later, available offline, so you don't have to kill the data on your phone. You don't have to kill your battery. Downloading all the episodes from your data, you can use it right on your Wi-Fi. And if you don't want to use Stitcher or iTunes, you can find us on our actual hosting site, SoundCloud. You can find us on the SoundCloud app. Just search for Two Strangers One Podcast. I make sure every episode is available for download. You can check us out there. If you want to support the show, we want your money. We need your money. But if we can't spend a penny, it just takes 2 seconds to share and like us on Facebook, facebook.com/2strangersonepodcast, all spelled out. Once again, just share and like us. Everyone and their fucking mother has a Facebook page. If you want to help us out, get our message out there, because I can spam people and Paul can spam people, but no one's really going to pay attention unless you say, hey, check these guys out. I mean, we could sit here saying, oh, we're great, we're wonderful. You have to fucking, if you say, listen to these guys, I jerk off all the time. If you say, listen to these guys, they're funny, it would definitely help the show. Word of mouth.
Boy, does he like to use his mouth.
Okay, let me see what else. You can write to us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. Once again, that's all spelled out, twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. We're also available on Stitcher. On Twitter with the Twitter handle at Stranger Podcast. But we don't really use Twitter.
No, Chris doesn't use Twitter, and he's going to have to give me the password after the thing. Especially with Comic-Con, because we will be using it, whether he fucking likes it.
And
I'm Batman, by the way. And I think that's it. Or did Oscar actually write us back?
No, this is a whole other...
Whole other what?
This is from like July. This is like from June.
Oh.
Alright, sorry. Christy Pitts. Verizon launched... Okay, this is from a Guo Pei Te. Verizon just launched a podcast. Christy Pitts hosts their podcast. And I thought she would make a really good guest for Two Strangers on Podcast. Will you be interested in a liaison? That sounds like a liaison.
Yeah, it just sounds like it's fake. But anyways,
yeah, that's a bogus email. That's why I probably looked at it and said, "Oh, that looks like shit." That's why. So once again, you can write us at twostrangersonepodcast.com, and I can't think of anything else. I acquiesce the floor to you, sir.
About time. So you can find me on Twitter at Paul Pascrillo. You can email me. It's paulpascrillo@toonamifaithful.com. You can also ask me questions. It's ask.fm/Paul Pascrillo. And you can obviously listen to me on my other podcast, the Toonami Faithful Podcast. We will be going to New York Comic Con. We will be trying to do I have some business that I have to handle anyways, on top of all the other things that we're trying to do. So thankfully, we'll get all that done too as well. So that's about it.
All right. Well, we certainly hope you enjoyed it and had as much fun listening as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Bye. You should be fapping. My face. Sorry, Jen. We didn't mean to start early.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne? Smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia's spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
Yeah, it
man.
is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it, that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15 is not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his comic books, heavy metal, video games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I
and
will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could saw them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne right now.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonepodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.